Ladies first, the guys are on the clock. Rob McLean, from 5 to 1, we're going to go back and forth. 5 to 1. Who are your top five American male beach volleyball players?
So my number five is Reed Pretty. Um, I thought his what is it called? His growth has been great. Just the way he looks in the court, it looks really smooth, and it looks like he's very calculated in what he's trying to do now. So I definitely saw growth recently at the end of last season. So I hope that he's putting the work in still and continued growth. But yeah, from where I see it right now, he's definitely in that number five spot.
Cool. I like Red Pretty because remember a couple of years ago he's in the qualifier with Kame Schalk and went all the way from there to like making semifinals with Ricardo and
Hmm.
then making finals with this dude, and finally winning a finals. In fact, a gold series with Trevor Crabb. Very, very well deserving. Elite athlete on the indoor scene. Trained. They train. You remember us playing indoor, man. We train terrible. We train terribly, man. We just
Hmm.
kill our bodies, man. He's so happy to do a different kind of training for beach because it's low impact, and he's found a new lease on life, particularly in the sport he loves, particularly where he has more responsibility because it's doubles. It's as close to an individual sport as you're gonna as volleyball's gonna get. My
Absolutely.
fifth, my fifth pick is Jeremy Casebeer. Jeremy Casebeer. And these are my reasons. One, he's a triple crown winner, okay? He was first in the AVP in kills, aces, and blocks. And in the aces category, no one even came close, okay? And he's just murdered. And my second reason, this man has an uncanny gas tank. If he lived in ancient Rome, he's the type of guy that would nail people into a cross in between playing sports. Okay, one is hunting and one is wrestling in the arena. That is my man Jeremy Casebeer. Last but not least, can't be in this top five unless you're competitive and you compete for that chip. Competed for a chip, won the chip and with Kame Shock in Seattle. So he's my number five pick, and the only reason why he wasn't a little higher is the Aces are up there, and no one's even close. But unfortunately, the service errors, you live and die.
Are also up there. Yeah,
So Rob,
it is what it is.
my number four. I'm gonna go first on this one because you went first
Okay, yeah,
last
yeah, go
time.
ahead.
It's my
Go
turn.
ahead.
I'll let you talk. My fourth is the older Crab. I got to go with Trevor Crab. Love what he's been doing the last 4 or 5 years. Every guy that guy has partnered up with has made the finals. He partnered up with his brother Taylor, made the finals 3 times. He partnered up with Rosie, who's like the Pat Riley of the AVP. He's always going to get you to the finals. Whether you win or lose, that's up to you. He partnered up with John Mayer, won 2 FIVB tournaments. However, 3-star, but a win is a win is a win. Had success with him. Hooked up with Tri Bourne, man. They've done better on the international scene than they did in the AVP. Last but not least, hooked up with Reed Pretty because Triborn got hurt and won the Gold Series, the Manhattan Beach Open. So now that man's name is etched in time, etched on the Manhattan Beach Pier, etched in the annals of the AVP history, and possible future Hall of Famer. My number four pick, Trevor Beefcake Crab. He's the
My number
beefier
four
crab.
is
You guys,
all right. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I ain't call him
Um,
meathead. No, I'm gonna call him, whatever. Sorry.
my number four would be Chase Budinger. I think again another great growth of a player. For me, big guys on the list, they just got to like dominate, and I think that he's started to dominate a little bit at the net. Um, with like the slower plays, with the on twos, he's been able to kind of be a smarter blocker. Maybe not as much as a physical blocker on like the on swing on full attack or set up offense, but definitely a crafty blocker. So, and then of course side out and swinging looks great. And then he and Casey did a great job of setting each other up for options. So I definitely think that his skill and IQ just definitely went through the roof, and love to see what he brings to the next couple of years.
True elite athlete, man. True
Yeah,
elite athlete in that guy, man. He just comes in, and in a matter of a couple of years, he's always in the conversation in the semis and finals.
true.
He has these streaks too, where you don't want to serve him. He's so unstoppable, and
Right.
his ability to set his partner has improved significantly. He's very, very competitive at the net. on offense and defense. He's got a pretty good jump serve, so he gets an honorable mention in my book. And it was
Well,
just, I mean,
and
the last two were just so hard. They were like four people balanced in and out. Like Tri Bourne's not on my list, and Tri Bourne normally would be, but Trevor Crabb has one thing that he doesn't. He has three abilities: accessibility, availability, and durability. You know, I mean, for me to be one of the best beach volleyball players today, you have to be playing. So,
yeah.
so
No,
try
I mean
try would
Trevor's
have
not on
try
my
would have
list, but
easily been
like
on this list.
they're yeah, same. I mean they're both not on mine, but I mean they could both be on my list. I
Yeah,
just think it's a small sample size that we've seen so far of them being successful. So
yeah.
got to keep that up.
Tim Baumgarten gets the rub too as far as honorable mentions are concerned. And I'm doing
True,
honorable mentions right
absolutely.
now because I think we pretty much might be saying the same thing for our top three. So Rob, who is your number three?
Well, I was gonna say too about Chase. It's also
Oh,
interesting to
go.
see
Sorry.
like because he also he was a like not more of an athlete, but he was a great college athlete, and then not like like not an average basketball athlete, but he had knee surgeries, and like the reason why he was out of the league because that kind of affected the way he kind of played, or so it's been told. So um, it's just interesting to see him come to like presumably maybe a more athletic sport and be athletic and
Yeah.
be a big guy that's obviously a difference maker. So
And he did have
very
star.
interesting to see.
Listen,
That's
and
why
he
he's
did
got to
have
be up
enough
there.
star power in the NBA, where if he starts winning a bunch of AVP titles, FIVB, that's gonna make mainstream news. He's good for the sport, you know.
Definitely, definitely.
And
People knew his name. I mean, he was a shooter. He was a dead eye shooter at one point. I mean,
yeah, super
yeah, it's good.
introverted too. I asked the coach, I'm like, "What's this guy's deal?" He walks around like McGruff the crime dog without the words, you know. And he's like, "Nope." He's at a dinner table. You won't hear a word from him. He's just eating. And I'm like, "Okay, that's just who he is." And yeah, I mean, I saw him first time I saw him. You know, I'm a New York fan. I saw him play for the Brooklyn Nets a little bit, so he was with them. And but honorable mention. So Rob,
Um,
who is your number three?
my number three is uh, the one who's always been there. I mean, he and John Hyden are like right there for me, but I haven't seen John too much playing, um, so it's been difficult for me to put him on the list. But Jake Gibb is my number three. Again, just super dependable. If you're a big guy that's on the list, or if you're a big guy that's up there, whether beginning of the career, end of the career, trying to build something, whatever it is, the best thing you could be is dependable. Before you're a star, or before you're doing extra things. Because if you're the big guy, if you're the blocker, first line of defense, like you need to be dependable. And I think Jake, even from the beginning, you play with Rosie, playing with everybody he's played with, he's always been the dependable person. Like he's not going to go out there try to bounce the ball. He's going to put the ball in that corner and put it in the right spot every time. Like, and that just makes you play at a higher level, so you can go out there and do great things. And I think that's really why he and Taylor work well together. Is that Taylor's so X factor. He wants to do everything extra, and I think that Jake wants to do everything so perfect that I think they kind of work out together.
Yeah,
And I think they will kind of flash in the right time. So
yeah,
I'm excited for the Olympics eventually.
yeah, man. Well, my number three, and um, my number three is Jake Gibb, Rob. All right. The guy's second in the league in aces. I mean, no one's going to catch Case Beer, but I mean, the next person behind him was 20 aces behind him, and he did it in 36 matches. So he did probably an average of matches less than everybody else. So he was second in blocks, two behind Case Beer. Case Beer's 137. He had 135. He and Taylor won four of the six AVP tournaments that they played in, and if they weren't, they were second or third. Moreover, I was talking about Jeremy Casebeer's conditioning. This man's conditioning and his health and nutrition is particularly knowing, given his age, because it's one of those things that everybody talks about, and it's so weird that everybody talks about it because when he's on the court, he just looks like a regular young player. There's nothing to talk about, and I'm excited for the Olympics next year, just like you are, because there are some people like the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get, and the longer you wait, the better it's going to get. And I think he's one of those guys that's going to stay the same, and maybe on a IQ level because of his good nutrition is probably get a little bit better. Listen, our IQs, Rob, as the years go, we're just smarter players. We just can't do anything about it because we're not physically able to. So you got someone like him, 43 years of age, who's smarter and is able to physically do the things he wants to do. Man, this might be the time of his life. Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is definitely great for him.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you could definitely see physically he's lost a step maybe in the last year or so.
yeah.
But I think it just kind of you always, even as a player, you always just have to whatever the player you are in that moment, you just got to make the best of that.
Yeah.
You know, compete with that the best you can instead of just like, oh, I'm this or I'm that.
Definitely, and I always think he lost a step too. But I'm like, compared to what? Like I look at him a decade ago. Well, what was his step? I guess
Sure.
they're all a little bit faster. All right, my number two. I'm going first on number two.
Yeah.
Got to go with Phil Dalhausser. Phil, the thin beast, the giant, El Gigante. The man needs no introduction. Olympic gold medalist. The man is known as the Wall. 58 AVP wins, 38 FIVB. And just like Walt, everybody keeps coming after him because they thought he lost a step. But just like that guy said in the movie Stripes, that Joel Sargent said, which one of you suckholes want to come here and knock me off? The answer is nobody yet. Not in the American scene. No, I mean, he's still up there, and he's playing in all these tournaments. He's top five in all 6 AVP tournaments that he played in. He won the AVP in New York City, beating Troy Field and Tim Baumgren. Fourth in blocks as far as matches played over 20, and first in hitting percentage. Now I'm flattening the curve because there's someone that could play like 6 matches and have a higher hitting percentage on him, but that's not how I'm doing it. 20 matches or more, he's hitting I believe 570, 572 in the AVP as far as the leaderboard is concerned. So his option still formidable. His hands still clean. His jump serve to space. Jumps, even the jump floaters, they just have this ridiculous high level movement on it. And yeah, make mine Phil number 2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think not that he's lost a step necessarily. I mean, I think it's just people have been testing him more. He has not an awkward game, but he has a goofy foot approach over time, over the ability to control your body. At a more advanced age, some things break down, and just like the ability to chop a ball back, or just to not sell a ball to a certain spot. So I think that he would always be number one on anybody's list. I think if you're going to build a team around somebody, you're always going to start with the big guy first. But yeah, just if we're talking about what player affects the game more, in my eyes, Phil, yeah, he's a great player, but doesn't jump serve anymore. A lot of float serves. That was a big piece of his game.
Yeah. Do you think he does that because of the integrity of the scene? Meaning that like if he's playing like the 16th seed and he's the 1 seed of the 2, is he not
Totally.
going to tax himself because he knows his serve to space is good enough to get these guys out of system and maybe get an ace or 2?
And the hard thing about that though is, yeah, I know what you're saying, and that's really what it is. But when you play against the top teams, if you don't pull that out, what kind of team are you if you have that in your back pocket and you don't pull it out? And I get saving it at a certain time, but that's why you're number 2 on the list and not number 1, because you don't have the energy, or you don't have you're just not showing it. If you win without it, totally fine, and that's going to propel you up a certain list. But if you're not using it and you're not, being your best, then there's a reason for it.
No
Whether
doubt.
it's injury or.
No doubt. All right, hey,
So,
we went through this
we
list
both
very
gotta have
nicely.
number 1.
Yeah,
Both gotta
man.
have the same number 1.
Listen. The order of the top 4 is always gonna be here and there, but and number 2 or 1 is always gonna be the interesting one. But
Pretty much the
with
same.
only one person left, Rob McLean, who is your number 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's Taylor Crabb. Obviously, I think it's kind of hard to deny that he's offensively and defensively very special. I feel, I don't know what it is. When I watch him play, maybe it's that, he sees things very easily and then makes a decision. But I feel like the ball could go faster. I feel like he makes a decision and then the ball doesn't get there like he's too smart for his game.
Yeah.
But
Or maybe
I
just his
think
matrix is
I think
different.
but again, like he is a little smaller, and I get that. But he jumps well. You know, he's got some length, and the ball pops off your hand well when he do that. You know, like I know people smaller than him that can make a ball go right over the blocker, and then hit that spot, and no one's touching that. You know,
Well, you
whether
go
the
on the
blocker
international scene, you're going to see a bunch of people like that.
totally. But if we're talking about a 5'6" dude and a 6'5" dude in the park, and then we're talking about a 7-footer and a 6'1" guy in the pro level, what are we talking about here? You know,
Yeah.
inches and inches is the same thing. So it's just it's at a different level. So I get it, but that's what you train for. You know, that's your job. So
Yeah.
he is the number one, but I think there's still a lot of bar to push, right? Yeah, I think there's a lot more that he can pull that up and get a little bit higher percentage of transition defensive points, and side out a little bit higher every time you get a chance. That one or two times they challenge you a game, and maybe you can there's just push the bar higher.
Yeah. Rob McLean, make mine Taylor Crabb. That's right, Taylor Crabb, because he's a dirty white boy. I got one for each brother, okay? One's the beefcake, one's the dirty white boy. The man has 437 digs in the AVP in just 36 matches. He finished a top 10 in 8 of the 10 FIVB tournaments with his partner in crime, Jake Gibb. I always look at some of these MVP and these all tournament team categories for indoor and outdoor volleyball, and you have these giants, these mythological beasts, big hands, big face, look like they can just swallow your head clean off, right? Chomp. And you look at these guys with like big feet, taking up all kinds of court. But when it comes down to MVP, when it comes down to the best player in the world, isn't it crazy that it's always someone like that who's like 6'3" or 6'2" or 6'1"? You got like Taylor Sander, who won like indoor best player in the world. You got this guy, Karch Karai, graciously listed at 6'1", who's still basically God. All right, Adam Johnson, and now we have our 6'1" Taylor Crabb, the skinny boy, the flamboyant digger, the man who lives in the matrix, the man that slows time down. He moves at regular speed, and everybody else on the court is moving at 3/4 speed, which is why his dig is coming out. You see him get six-pack because his hands come out too fast, or they come out this way. That man is amazing, and like you said, we were doing this. Not thumbs up. We were doing this because that man has a... Oh, shoot. Did you just see that? Rob, that was an upside. That's my dude, Taylor Crabb. Still love you, man. Call me back. Little freaker. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.